Hey, I'm just trying to live my life as a normal kid, but some people still see me as the famous.
I'm JC, and you're watching Jose Calamari. What's up, YouTube? I'm JC, and you're watching Jose Calamari. Welcome back to another video on the channel, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I put a short video out on, you know what I'm saying? Just like a little clip from my, Black People React to Paranormal stuff. And y'all niggas ran that video up, those two different clips up from 800 to 200, and y'all really like that type of energy of video, at least the clips version. You know what I'm saying? The regular video is doing regular numbers on my channel, but I found this video, and I haven't reacted to Mr. Nightmare in a long time, so I was like, y'all kind of like the creepy stuff on the channel. I haven't played any creepy horror games, so let me replace that with creepy horror reaction videos, okay? So, I saw this pop on my timeline. It came out 6 days ago as of me filming this video right now on May the 20th, which I'm filming this. It's called 3 True Scary Stories Where Dreams Ran Into Reality, bro. So the thought of that, bro, I think I heard a couple of stories, bro, so amazing stories where, like, dreams, you're dreaming about something, and then it kind of like, when you wake up and it's just like the dream was trying to tell you, hey, this is what's going on in real life, you better, like, wake up and, like, get to the time so you can save your life type energy, bro. So I was like, that sounds really cool, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying, dreams right into reality. Maybe you had a dream about some foolishness, bro, and then having it in real life after the fact, and the dream was just there to warn you. I think those kind of stories are, like, crazy, but also creepy. I'm like, let's enjoy it together. So without further ado, we'll jump on this thing. Just forgive me while we're reacting to this. I'm just gonna be eating some food, bro, and just, like, you know what I'm saying, reacting to this normal, but I just want to, like, feast on some food right quick. So forgive me if you hear in the mic, which I'll try not to have. But let's get started with this video, bro. Mr. Nightmare. First story by somebody named George. George.
This happened over the course of 3 or 4 years when I was a kid.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly when I got the first one, but I started having this recurring, half-lucid nightmare maybe once every couple of months.
Okay.
From what I can remember, here's how it would go. I'd be lying down in bed, only the view wasn't from my first-person perspective. Instead, I'd be looking down at myself from the ceiling, like I was viewing my own bedroom through a security camera feed.
Okay.
The out-of-body dissociation always freaked me out. I'd try to float or swim towards my body, but I was never able to move beyond swiveling my head to look around the room. I was half lucid, so I knew it was a dream, but that didn't make me any less scared. After calming myself down, I'd start noticing strange things about my bedroom. For one, the digital clock on my nightstand would always be counting in reverse. That was typically the first strange detail I'd notice. And once I noticed that, I'd start seeing other weird stuff. There were these drawings taped to random spots on the walls and dresser, like crayon drawings you'd expect from a kid my age, but I had no memory of ever making them. I wasn't the type of kid who ever drew much, so it wasn't like I had just forgotten about them. They always showed the same thing, a row of people holding hands, all smiling, with one smaller figure who I can only imagine was me. They were always standing in front of a house with a blue roof, but I can't remember much more about the drawings than that. The other detail about the dreams that still sticks out to me is an old toy train of mine that was always sitting in a different spot on my bedroom floor, which was significant because I had lost that particular toy years prior. Anyway, after analyzing my room for a bit, I'd get this unexplainable urge to look out my bedroom window. I'd glance over, and as if it were on cue, a man would appear just a few inches from the glass.
Hell no.
He had short gray hair and what looked like a cut on his left temple. That's honestly all I can remember about his face. He would watch me sleep for a few seconds.
Whoa.
And start clawing at the window like he was trying to open it from the outside. That's usually when I woke up. Sometimes I immediately ran to the window, and sometimes I was too terrified to even move. But I always ended up checking one way or another. I don't know what I thought I'd find. Maybe claw marks or a smudge from where his hand had been. But there was never anything there, or anyone for that matter. After the 4th time it happened, I finally told my parents. My mom told me that recurring dreams weren't that rare, especially at my age, and my dad chimed in to remind me that they were always just one room away if I ever felt scared. I nodded and acted like that helped, but it didn't. Not really. My dad could tell I was still scared, so he took me by the hand and explored the exterior of the house with me.
Okay.
There was no indication that anyone had been there. No footprints, no smudges on the window, nothing. Even so, that didn't calm my nerves as much as you might think. Keep in mind, this was about 1 year in, so I was having this dream roughly once every 3 months.
Oh.
It wasn't happening every night, not even close, but having the exact same dream 4 times definitely means something, which I knew even at that age. But after that 4th dream though, they just stopped. For a while at least. I went nearly 6 months without a single episode, and at some point, I let myself believe it was over. It all just kind of faded into the background, the way childhood fears tend to when life gets more.
Alright, so I'm gonna start the video right here, and let me just announce what I think is going on. Sorry if I'm expecting y'all here with this food's good, fantastic. You ever had pork chops and gravy? Some baked pork chops smothered in gravy and rice. I'm sorry, it's not a mukbang video, I apologize. Anyway, bro, what I think is going on is he's not having a dream. I think he's falling asleep and then he's waking up and then like, yeah, I remember there's a video on my channel, bro, where like I couldn't have sworn I was reacting to Sun Bro's Halloween and I was asleep the whole time, y'all. It's possible. It's possible that he think he's asleep. The whole time he's awake and he's seeing all this stuff. And the dream is portraying to him that he's seeing this man, which he is, but it's also portraying to him like all these paintings on the room that's making it seem kind of fake. So he's kind of aware that he's awake. He's seeing this man do this. So in real life, this man is doing this, trying to get into the room, but he keeps foreseeing it as a dream. And when he wakes up and he tells parents about it, by the time he tells people about it, there's no one outside the room because the man probably didn't, he might got out of there because he couldn't get into the room. So, like I said, it's very like true that you can experience dreams, but you believe that you're sleeping, but you really like on some REM sleep, but you like awake type shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe me? I promise you, bro. On my whole life, there's a video on my channel, bro. What's it called? It's called something like this happened when I was filming YouTube or whatever like that. I'm telling you, I swear I was reacting to the video, bro. Like my eyes were open in the video, but I was dead asleep. I was dead asleep, y'all. And I noticed because I woke up and I'm like, hey, I just woke up. I was asleep the whole time. I realized it. All right, let's get back to the video.
Normal. But then it came back. I have no idea what triggered it, but one random night I had the dream again. Everything was exactly the same as I remembered. The clock, the drawings, the train, everything.
Yeah.
But there was something different about that dream that was scaring me twice as much as the earlier ones had.
Let me know.
I couldn't figure out what it was. Everything was following the exact same chain of events. But then, as I was looking around the room, I realized what it was. My bedroom window was open. As soon as I saw that, I woke up.
Okay.
There was a period of maybe 5 minutes where I couldn't move, complete and utter sleep paralysis.
Okay.
And it wasn't a passive sleep paralysis either. My brain was screaming at me to check the window the entire time, but I couldn't drag myself out of bed no matter how much I tried.
Be like that.
On top of that, I felt significantly colder, as if cold air was blowing through my bedroom window, which I was convinced was wide open. Those 5 minutes were unlike any kind of fear I have ever experienced. All I could think about was how that man was moments away from climbing through my window, yet there was nothing I could do about it.
Okay, what's going
When I
on?
finally regained control of my limbs, I forced myself over to the window, confirming that it was locked. I couldn't fall back asleep that night. I was too scared. I'm not sure how I was even able to function the following morning. Another couple of months went by, but I wasn't going to be fooled again. Every night before I went to bed, I thought long and hard about the dream in an attempt to brace myself for having it again. I'm not sure if this logic tracks, but I was hoping that keeping the dream on my brain would help me not get too scared should I have it again. To my surprise, that technique actually worked. The next time I had that dream, I wasn't even half as scared. I didn't even bother checking the window after waking up. By the time I had it again, I was barely scared at all. Still, something about it lingered. Not in a scary way, but enough to make me want to bring it up to my parents again. Maybe it was the way I explained it, Or maybe it was because I was slightly older. But for whatever reason, they actually paid closer attention this time. I tried to provide as much detail as possible, something I hadn't done before. As I was getting to my description of the man, my parents' demeanor shifted. Not too dramatically, but enough for me to notice.
Okay, was it?
Specifically, it was right as I was telling them about the cut on his forehead.
Okay.
Before I could even finish, my dad cut me off and asked if I was sure about the cut. I told him I was, and he looked over at my mom like there was some unspoken detail that I...
You know what that means, right? The dad was like, "Are you sure about the cut?" He looked at the mom. He was like, "Yeah, that's him." Then he minded thinking, "Yeah, that was the pedophile uncle that was trying to touch you when you was a kid." I'm joking, bro. I don't know. Chill out, dog. It's not nothing to joke about. I apologize. I had some drinks, bro. Forgive me. If somebody's uncle touching you, bro, it's not nothing funny. It's nothing cool, bro. If that's happened to you in life, that's nothing to be joking about. I apologize, bro. The drinks get to me. You know, so I didn't watch a lot of sense of humors and bad humors on YouTube lately. You know what I'm saying? After you start watching Long Beach Griffey and Trey Rag so much, bro, you just get desensitized to cancel culture. You just forget what's messed up and what's not cool. I apologize, bro. Just continue the video.
wasn't aware of. I asked my parents what was going on, and they assured me that everything was fine. Not wanting to upset them,
I hope that's not pedophile, uncle.
But from that point on, I started wondering if there was more to the story.
Probably is.
As it would turn out, a few days after that conversation, my parents sat me down and came clean. It wasn't some dramatic reveal or anything. They just said there was something they wanted to tell me.
Sure.
My mom did most of the talking. Apparently, when I was really little, like too young to even remember, there was a man named Brian who used to watch me sometimes. They always referred to him as Uncle Brian, but he wasn't actually family, just a close friend of my dad's from college. I guess he was around a lot when I was a baby and a toddler, especially during the times when both my parents were working full-time. But something happened. My dad didn't give details, just said that there was a falling out between them, bad enough that they completely cut ties. He said he forbade Brian from ever coming near our family again, specifically from coming near me again. That was the end of it.
Am I
I asked
lying?
what caused the fallout, but they wouldn't tell me. They just repeated that it had nothing to do with me and that I didn't need to worry. The only other thing they told me, and this is what gave me a sick feeling, was that Brian had a noticeable scar on his forehead from a car accident he'd been in years before I was born. They didn't connect the dots out loud, but they didn't have to. I was old enough to make the connection myself. Later that night, after my mom had gone to bed, my dad lingered in the living room with me a little longer. I could tell he wanted to say more, like he hadn't been totally satisfied with how the conversation went earlier. After a few moments of silence, he told me his theory. He said he thought the dreams were my brain's way of processing something buried really deep, some memory from when I was little, before I could even form full sentences. He mentioned how close I apparently used to be with Brian, how I'd cry when he left the house, how I always wanted him to be the one to read me to sleep. My dad said he couldn't think of any other way I'd know about the scar on Brian's forehead. I didn't know what to make of that. I had no recollection of this Brian person whatsoever. Even now, I still can't recall a single memory with him in it. I had no choice but to move on with my life, though, recurring dream or not. Another handful of months passed. I'm doing my best to describe the timeline as accurately as possible, but it's hard to remember exactly how much time passed in between each dream. That said, the frequency decreased after talking to my parents. I had the dream only once or maybe twice within the next year, but things took a very dark turn sometime in year 4. One night after waking up from the dream, I glanced over at my window, just out of habit, and this time, I actually saw something move. It was just a flicker, but I was 100% sure something had just moved from right outside my window. And just like that, all the fear I had spent years trying to prevent came rushing back. It was actually worse. I jumped out of bed and screamed for my parents, who took
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills.
My watch is broken.
You could tell time by measuring the sun.
took me very seriously. My dad sprinted outside in his bare feet while my mom held me tightly. Eventually, my dad came back and started whispering stuff to my mom. They told me to stay put while they called the police. I listened to them and stayed in their room, although I don't remember ever hearing any sirens or other voices besides theirs that night. My dad insisted everything was fine and that the police were going to take care of things. The next day, he confessed to me that he had seen what he thought were extremely faint footprints underneath my bedroom window. I asked him if he thought it was Brian, and he said that was impossible, since they had moved and Brian didn't know where we lived. My dad promised me that nothing bad was going to happen ever, and he would turn out to be right. I never had that dream again. My parents don't like talking about this incident, and I can see why. I'm still yet to get a straight answer out of them, but I've since stopped trying. What I can't wrap my head around is the sickening thought that every time I had that dream, there really was someone outside my window watching me. Was it really plausible that someone had been periodically stalking me for 4 years? It doesn't track, and I can't decide what's scarier. If it really was Brian watching me, or just some complete stranger that my brain associated with him for whatever reason. And who knows how that somehow got translated into my dreams. I've done research, and I still don't even know how that would be possible. Maybe he was making a noise or something, and my brain picked up on it. I really can't say. What I can say is that I'm 95% sure my parents never called the police that night. That's something I will likely never get an explanation for. I'll most likely never get any answers regarding this experience since it happened so long ago. But if I do, I'll send an update.
So, before we go to the next story, bro, I was listening the whole time. If y'all see my face, I was just kind of intrigued, invested in there. I think that the dude, Brian, the parents are hiding. Brian was a friend of theirs. Brian did some weird molestation. And remember, I was making a joke earlier. I apologize. It's possible that Brian was a friend of the family. He did some weird stuff with the kid, and they caught him. Or maybe he wasn't a pedophile. Maybe they just had an issue with Brian, and then they didn't want to see him again. This nigga Brian was walking. Hey, I'm too close to your kid now. I need to come in peer and see how you doing. And Brian just kept peering in and seeing how he was doing on some creepy stuff. Now the fact that the dad never went outside. I don't if you call the police or not. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. All I know is that ain't ever happened to me, bro. You know, so this kid person sound white, no racial, bro. But we better get into the second story before we let me start my camera. Alright, guys, we're back, bro. Story number 2 by Nicholas Paul.
I'm going to keep this as short as possible. Most nights I fall asleep to some form of sound. It's the best way I know how to knock out quickly. Sometimes it's a chess video, sometimes it's a podcast about space, sometimes it's just a recording of a thunderstorm. You get the idea. I'm a very active dreamer, so whatever I fall asleep to usually gets translated directly into my dreams in some form. For example, if I fall asleep to a soccer compilation, then it's likely I'll have a dream about playing soccer. Part of the reason this is so clutch is because I had a ton of nightmares growing up, and this technique prevents them. This happened a couple of weeks ago during a sleepover at my friend Duncan's place. It was a sleepover, so I had to fall asleep normally. That wasn't an issue for me. It just meant my dreams would be a lot less predictable. There were 3 of us, me, Duncan, and Ian. Duncan's parents were away for the weekend, which is why we were having the sleepover in the first place. He has a lot of big, comfy couches in his living room, so that's where we all slept.
Okay.
That night, I had one of the most vivid dreams I've had in a while. I was out at sea on a small sailboat. I don't even know where it came from. I've never been on a sailboat in my life. The water was super choppy, and I remember the sky being this weird mix of dark purple and gray. The wind was howling, but not in a scary way. It kind of felt like I was in a movie or something. Then the boat lurched. I couldn't see what we hit, but I definitely felt it. Whatever it was, it knocked the whole sail sideways and cracked something underneath. Water started gushing in through the bottom, and I remember trying to plug the hole with my jacket, which obviously wasn't doing anything. I started panicking, like full-on helpless panic, and just as the boat started to sink, a dolphin jumped out of the water, locked eyes with me, and said in perfect English, "Wake up."
The
That
fuck?
instantly snapped me awake.
The
I'm
fuck?
usually pretty groggy after waking up, but this was different, although I didn't know why yet. I looked around the room, trying to figure out if anything was different or strange, but everything looked normal. My friends were sleeping next to me, and the living room was exactly how we left it. You know that weird in-between phase right after you wake up where you can't really process information accurately?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I know
what I
that.
was experiencing.
It'd be
A
like
few
that.
seconds later, though, my brain started functioning properly, and I picked up on a sound that was definitely out of place. There was this distinct rushing sound coming from somewhere upstairs. It wasn't muffled like you'd expect if a faucet was just dripping. It was consistent, like a hose or something. That must have been why I had that wonky dream about the ocean.
Okay.
I sat there for a second, trying to figure out what I was hearing. Then, like an idiot, I got up to check it out myself. I crept up the stairs, trying to make as little noise as possible.
Crazy.
The noise got louder with each step. It was definitely running water, and it was coming from the upstairs bathroom at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly cracked open, and even from a distance I could see the sink. One of the knobs was turned all the way to the right. The water was just gushing out, full blast. There
Yeah.
was no way that could have happened on its own. It didn't even make sense. I got close to the doorway and was about to step in, but something made me stop.
Okay.
The bathroom up there is pretty big. It's got this long counter and a bathtub with a curtain, plus this awkward corner where the toilet is. Plenty of blind spots. For all I knew, someone could have been crouching behind the tub or standing right behind the door.
Okay.
My stomach dropped. I don't know why, but I just couldn't go in. I backed up and booked it down the stairs to wake up Duncan. I shook him hard and told him something was wrong. At first, he was groggy, but the urgency in my voice
Get up, Duncan, or I saw the piss out you.
because he sat up and asked what was going on. I told him the sink upstairs was blasting and I thought someone was in the house. That woke him up real fast.
Bet.
We left Ian asleep on the couch and crept back up together. When we got to the bathroom door, Duncan didn't even hesitate. He pushed it open and stepped inside. I was not prepared for what was about to happen.
What happened?
Almost immediately, a figure lunged from around the corner and tackled Duncan from the side.
Oh shit.
It happened so fast. All I saw was Duncan go down and this guy swinging a piece of PVC pipe like he was about to beat the crap out of him. I didn't think. I just threw myself at the guy, trying to get him off Duncan. We both piled on him and wrestled him to the floor, but he was bigger than both of us.
Alright, at this point, I'm wondering one thing. Because at the beginning of the story, unless I've been drinking too much and not paying attention, what were the ages of these people? Are they like teenagers? Because I was like, for one, why the freak is the parents leaving them by themselves in a house alone? So I was like, they must be of age to a degree of like 16 years old, you know what I'm saying? Close to 18 years old to be left by themselves. That's be number one. Because I'm like, how the freak? How in the world they got left by themselves in this house, bro? Like that. And now they scrapping with the dude. I need to know the age. I have to know the age, how old he was, and how old this dude was, bro. They saying this dude was like a big dude.
It was pure chaos. Eventually, the guy broke free and bailed, shoving both of us to the side and sprinting for the stairs.
That was strong enough,
By the
damn.
time Duncan and I made it to the porch, he was gone.
At least I jumped him.
Police showed up maybe 30 minutes later, but they weren't much help. They determined that the entry point was a downstairs window, which was wide open and had been previously unlocked.
So a homeless woman was taking a
Duncan's family
shower?
doesn't have cameras in their house, so there was no evidence we could turn over. The police said that it was likely that it had just been a burglar committing a random attack, but my friends and I think it was way more specific than that.
Why would he take a shower instead of
Why
stealing?
would a burglar purposely make noise by turning on a sink faucet in the first place?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was obviously a trap to lure someone upstairs, but what was the point if he was trying to rob the place? This makes me think he had a more sinister intention, one
Trying
I
to kill you?
can't fully explain. Duncan is convinced that whoever broke in knew his parents were out of town and had expected only one person to be there that night. Him.
Okay.
If that's true, then I can only imagine that whoever had broken in intended on seriously injuring or killing Duncan. I don't even like to think about what would have happened had I gone in that upstairs bathroom by myself.
Yo, that's actual facts, bro. Big W for the dude, the last story, bro, who jumped instead of going in and thing by himself. He woke up his friend, and then, like, he went up there and he jumped and helped his friend, like, fight the dude. Big W's for him, bro. Because if it was me, I would never went upstairs, bro. I wouldn't have woke the nigga up immediately. I'm like, this is your house. Your parents gone. Who the f is upstairs? This nigga Elon Musk is right next to us. There's only supposed to be 3 of us here. Who the f upstairs? You got ghosts in this bitch? That's how I've been acting. And then we immediately went to got out the house, called the police on dude, and the police would have found him when the police would have got jumped on by him, bro. He would have dealt with the police. There is no me investigating, bro. This house I'm in recording right now, I know this junk like a book. I know it's like the back of my hand, y'all. I know when footsteps are happening. I know my people. And you'll see, you might be talking in the background of this video. I know when footsteps happen in the middle of the night. I'm awake. I know how they walk. I know when footsteps are coming to this part of the door. You know what I'm saying? There's two doorways to this room. Okay? There's one over here. Alright? That I'm pointing to, as y'all can't see. And there's one behind me, y'all see, bro. I can hear all the footsteps in this old house. Knowing, bro, when someone's walking up to this door and someone's walking up to this door. I know when handles are jiggling and moving to open said doors. I know when movement is happening and regular movement or pace movement that's moving too fast. I know it all, bro. So there is no me wondering, oh, Johnny, are you in the bathroom using it? No, I know when someone's in the kitchen right now getting food, late night snack. But I know when somebody's accessing the front door too. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no joke, bro. I remember, bro, for story times. I remember one time, story time, when it was like a middle of the night, y'all, and it's probably because I have like a bunch of cats. My people like to feed a bunch of stray cats by our house, bro. And I'm gonna say it's the cats because it's the only thing that really makes sense at this point. But like, what happened was, bro, I had a bunch of stray cats in my like all over the place around my house because people feed them and got cat food, and just like a bunch of stray cats, bro, around the neighborhood, just chilling at our house, bro, all underneath the house on top of the porch or whatever like that. And they don't let you pet them; they just run away, bro, when you get near them. But you know, they don't take the food though, whatever. It was one night. It was like I was up late, and my sleep schedule is jacked up. You understand? My sleep schedule is I'll go take naps once I get off of work at 3 o'clock, and then I'll be up, bro, from like nighttime, 10 p.m. type energy all the way to like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Like, that's the kind of sleep, time frame I'm on, depending on the day, depending on what's going on. So I'm up one night, and it's like I'm just watching YouTube, chilling, because that's all I do, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching YouTube or something like that, and I hear the front door, you know what I'm saying? Like someone's trying to get into the house, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, nigga, it's like 2 in the morning. I know my people in the room watching TV programs. I can hear the TV programs and then the laughter from the TV. They're not outside. There's no one coming down my street. There's nobody rushing into my door. Bro, I get up. I silently open my door. I go to my peephole. I look through the peephole. I don't see nobody, bro. You know what I'm saying? First thing I'm thinking, they ducking from the peephole because they don't want to be seen. I go to my peephole room. I see they up. I say, shh. This is exactly what I say, shh. I think somebody, I walk up to him, whisper, I say, I think there's somebody outside. Grab a weapon. That's what I tell them. Say, come with me, grab a weapon, get ready. Shh. We go back to the front door, and I go back before I open it. I listen. I don't hear a sound. Next thing you know, bro, my people got the weapon. They open the door up, turn and look. There's nobody out there. It's like, there's nobody out there. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I promise I heard something, bro. Later on, we find out it's like the cats be running around at night, bro, all restless, jumping, trying to mess with the knob. They can do that, jump off of. There's so many different areas of push they jump off and make sound. I was like, okay, there was the couch, the cats. There was no person out there, bro, but I'm just saying, just be aware of your surroundings. Let's keep this video going.
This happened on a Friday night a couple months back. My girlfriend's parents had planned a weekend trip out of town, some kind of anniversary thing, I think. So naturally, my girlfriend Bonnie invited me to stay at her place. Normally, her parents are pretty strict, and sleeping over in her room is definitely off limits.
But he's trying to smash.
The whole weekend, we figured it wouldn't hurt anyone.
He's trying to
Bonnie
smash.
lives in one of those suburban neighborhoods where every house looks the same, quiet enough that by 10 o'clock it always feels deserted. Honestly, that place creeps me out a little whenever I leave late at night. So I was relieved at the thought of just staying put for once. I showed up around 8, brought snacks, and we watched a movie. The usual stuff. Bonnie's room is on the 2nd floor facing the backyard, and from her window, you can just barely see into the dense line of trees that borders their property. They don't have much exterior lighting, so at night it's pitch black out there, like looking straight into a void. Bonnie has a queen-size bed, so we both had plenty of space, enough that we could stretch comfortably.
Yeah, I ain't trying to stretch out. Y'all trying to get in.
I'll
You
skip
ain't
the
got
rest
lie.
of the irrelevant stuff. We eventually
You
turned
heard?
off the
Yeah.
TV.
Did y'all hear that? He said, skip the rest of your irrelevant stuff. The irrelevant stuff is him. He beating cheeks up. He's smashing right now. He trying to make them. He trying to put somebody to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Cloud. Cheeks getting beat. I'm sorry. Don't demonetize me.
Drifted off. I don't remember falling asleep, but I vividly remember the unsettling dream that followed.
Cause
Now, before I tell you about it, I want to say one thing.
what?
I've only had a false awakening dream a couple of times in my life before. This night was one of them. For anyone who's never had one, it's a really strange and almost transcendent experience. Dreams like the one I'm about to describe are actually the main reason I believe there are things in this world beyond those that we can see. In the dream, I woke up abruptly to the unmistakable sound of a door slamming shut somewhere downstairs.
But
Before
Hell
I could
no.
even process it, rapid footsteps started racing up the stairs. Without hesitation, I shot up in the bed with the intention of intercepting whoever had broken in.
okay,
Something stopped me.
okay.
Bonnie's room looked identical to how it had looked when we went to sleep. Every detail exactly as it should have been, except for one thing.
What?
Thing that I could still picture in my mind's eye even now. A thin yellow glow spilling into the bedroom from the crack beneath the bedroom door. It was just a sliver of light, but for some reason, I couldn't tear my eyes away from it.
Okay.
All my confidence was gone. My vision began tunneling into this little bar of light as everything else started fading to black.
Okay.
The footsteps made it up the stairs and started storming towards the door.
You're not gonna lock the door?
About it. I was frozen.
Oh, he in a dream. He
Silence.
just scared.
Still fixated on the light below the door when the voices started. At first, it was just one voice, a woman's voice, saying all sorts of nasty things about me. Insults about my appearance, my outlook on life, my future. But then things
Damn.
started getting more personal. It knew things about me, deeply personal things I'd never shared with anyone, not even Bonnie.
That's some demonic
From
shit.
my past.
That's some demonic shit.
Said, things I had done.
That's some demonic shit. That's not. I thought I was say it's her mom.
Could know.
Fuck no, it's not her mom.
Two became three, and before I knew it, there were 100 voices tormenting me with my
There are
darkest,
demons in our
darkest
house.
secrets.
Oh hell yeah, there's demons in our
I
house.
genuinely felt like the darkest pieces of my brain were being dragged out of my
Fuck
head
no.
under a microscope. I couldn't take it anymore. I threw off the covers, bolted across the room, and swung open the bedroom door, ready to
You're like,
confront
"Who talking
whoever was
shit?"
harassing me.
He's like, who talking
The
shit?
door opened. Every light in the house snapped off, and I was plunged into pure darkness.
Oh shit, you got
Voices
demons.
stopped, and the air turned ice cold, sharp enough to sting my skin. And for a split second, it felt like I'd stepped into another world entirely. I stumbled backwards in a disoriented haze until I found the bed, then scrambled under the covers like I was 6 years old again. And then I woke up. Only I was still dreaming at that point. I just didn't know
What?
it. I sat up slowly, obviously still scared, but trying to reassure myself that the nightmare was over. But to my horror, when I looked at the bedroom door, I saw that same beam of light pouring into the room. And then I heard it. The downstairs door slamming shut again, followed by those same frantic footsteps stomping
Fuck
upstairs.
no.
The entire sequence replayed itself with agonizing precision.
Did you get up and lock the door?
Footsteps stopping at the door, the voices, the secrets, the whole thing. I couldn't help myself. I again ran towards the door and threw it open, only to experience that same cold darkness as before. When I
Damn.
finally woke up for real, my
Second
mind was
time loop?
racing. I was 75% sure I had actually woken up, but I was so disoriented from the strangeness of that double false awakening dream that I couldn't be sure. Bonnie was sound asleep next to me, completely unaware of what I had just been through. That's when I knew I was awake for real. In my dream, I had
She was knocked down.
over at the other side of the bed.
He knocked her ankles
Started to
loose.
relax, but when I sat up to look at the bedroom door, I damn near screamed. There, under the door, was that same strip of light that I had seen in my dreams. It was the exact same image. It did make sense. Bonnie and I were alone, and every single light in the house was supposed to be off. For
Okay.
a second, I just stared, unsure of what to make of what I was seeing.
Nigga, get up and lock the door, bitch.
Downstairs,
Lock
clear as
the
day.
door.
Someone was inside the house.
Lock the
Right away, I knew
door.
we were being robbed. Without another thought, I pulled out my phone and discreetly called the police.
Hell yeah.
Telling them what was happening, I tiptoed over to the door just to make sure it was locked.
Hell yeah.
Then, I crept back to Bonnie and gently woke her up, putting
Shit,
my hand
yeah.
over her mouth so she wouldn't accidentally make a noise. She didn't scream or anything when I told her, which was a huge relief.
Hell
It
yeah.
felt like forever, but after a few tense minutes, the police arrived at the house. Things got loud downstairs. The police actually kicked in the front door, and there was a bunch of shouting. When I felt like it was safe to do so, I went downstairs just in time to see two masked men being ushered into a police car in cuffs. I talked to them
Oh,
and thanked them before going downstairs. It was late, but Bonnie's parents rushed back from their trip early once they heard what had happened. They were mad that I had stayed the night.
Shit.
Hearing my story, they were actually grateful. About a week after that, Bonnie called me with more information. The officers told her parents that the two men who had been arrested admitted to breaking in because they'd seen a Facebook post about their trip and didn't think anyone would be home.
Oh shit.
Thinking about the actual break-in doesn't bother me all that much. The reason I can't get this experience out of my head is because of that damn dream. I can accept that the noise of the break-ins made its way into my head somehow. That part's fine. But what I don't understand is the actual content of the dream. Bonnie thinks I have some unresolved demons lurking somewhere in my subconscious, but I don't like thinking about that possibility. And as for the door, I was lying down, so I wouldn't have been able to even see the door, let alone conjure up a perfect image of it in my head.
Oh my
A
god.
strip of light is something I see all the time. I can literally see it in my head now. I don't even have to be closing my eyes, which is even more troubling. It's not like it's obstructing my vision or anything, but it's always there in the back of my mind. I'm sure that image will go away eventually, but part of me is worried that it'll be seared into my head forever.
Bro, that last one is crazy. W on that last story, bro. Yo, the fact that he handled that so precise, and the parents weren't even mad that he was over there smashing that girl, bro. You know damn well he knocked her ankle loose, bro. You know he was smashing. He smashed her. He put her to sleep so good, bro. She couldn't even wake up through all that. This nigga had terrifying dreams. Woke him up. He realized it was the fucking getting robbed. He immediately made sure the door was locked. Called the police. Woke her up smooth. W to her and him. W, she didn't even like start screaming or some shit. He was like, shh. He's like, I know I put that dick down on you so good, baby, but I need you to wake up. They got robbers in this bitch. She woke up. She was like, yes, sir. Thank you so much for that word earlier. That's how she was, bro. And then like immediately police came through. Two masked men, bro, was following them following the parents on Facebook. The parents were like, oh my gosh, thank you for being there to smash my daughter. If you didn't wake up, she could have been dead now. Just imagine getting like applauded by the parents for smashing the daughter and saving her life from. That's crazy, bro. I'm in the video here, bro. Hope y'all enjoyed this reaction to Mr. Nightmare. If y'all want to see more of these, let me know in the comment section below. If y'all fucking with the creepy and the disturbing and the whole whatever, let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, I'm JC, and you're watching Jose Calamari. Later, people.